Hi, this is Lenora Bresler with the January 4th, 2017 edition of the Bible, Delight in the Details. Well, good afternoon. This is a multi-part session talking about one of the most beloved passages in all of Scripture, Psalm 23, the Lord is my shepherd. As we talked about last time, being a shepherd is very near and dear to God's heart. All of the patriarchs were shepherds, and Christ in John chapter 10 went to great lengths to talk about that he is the good shepherd. It is a wonderful, beautiful psalm that comes really alive when you realize that every single phrase in that psalm is a professional shepherding term. Today, we're going to look at the phrase, "He maketh me to lie down in green pastures." And there's actually three parts to this. Maketh me, lie down, and green pastures. Now, first of all, most of us, at least I had a wrong impression about what being a shepherd was all about. I had these ideas of a very peaceful life, almost a sleepy shepherd reclining on a hill while sheep happily and quietly graze on meadows, and a very kind of, boring and easy life. Nothing could be further from the truth. Real shepherding is an extremely active, very, very difficult and time-consuming kind of life. Not only does a shepherd literally get out into the elements, and sleep under the stars, right, with the sheep. So it's a very difficult life because you're out there in the elements. But it's more than that. It's a very active life. Sheep are not only notoriously dumb, we covered that before, but they are notoriously skittish. They cannot rest. They will not lay down and be at peace easily. Anything disturbs them. If they don't have enough water, have too much water, if they're cold, if they're hot, if another sheep is doing something strange, if they hear a crack from the forest nearby, everything can really be okay. But if the sheep even sense anything is out of whack, they get very, very skittish. You remember the old carnival game Whack-A-Mole, where you just kept hitting a mole, and once one went down, another one popped up? Well, that's what it's like to be a shepherd. Shepherding is difficult anyway, but the sheep themselves, the fact that they're so panicky and they're so they're not contented very easily, that makes it all the more difficult for a shepherd, unnecessarily so, but nonetheless. And the reason it's so important that the sheep be comforted, that they be content, is because, as we said, sheep have a real herding instinct, a herd mentality, a following mentality. If one renegade sheep goes off, the rest of them follow, and if they jump off a cliff, everybody's going to jump off too. So when the psalmist says that the Lord makes me to lie down, what that means is that the shepherd is taking great care to take care of those sheep, not just with the reality, what really is danger, what really is the problem, but also when it comes to how the sheep think. The perceived dangers, the unreasonable fears that they might have. Nonetheless, the shepherd has to come and comfort them. And one of the main ways that a shepherd comes and comforts a sheep is to come and be in the midst of them. The physical presence of the shepherd calms and reassures the sheep. Isn't that a beautiful testimony to how God treats us? I mean, aren't we like those discontented sheep? We're so skittish. We're so scared of everything. We're never content. We're never happy. Something's always a problem. There's always greener grass, on the proverbial other side of the fence. And what does God do? He has to come and help us be calm so that we don't go off and do crazy things that are going to get us into trouble. Now, the other thing is he makes me lie down. among green pastures. Now, if you're like me, when I was growing up and I read that passage, I thought Ireland. I thought about the lush green meadows, the thickness, the verdancy of the Irish countryside. No. Green pastures is a shepherding term that means just enough grass for one flock for one day. One day. Now, if you think about it, the Middle East does not look like Ireland. There aren't any or very few places where there are, large green meadows with plenty of grass. It's mostly desert with little oases. So sheep don't have that assurance of oh, look at all this grass. Why, we could eat for years and years and be okay. No, there's just enough for one or two feedings. This brings up something very, very important that we should remember as we go into a new year. You know how in the Christian life, it seems like God is always asking us to change. He always wants to take us out of our comfort zone, stretch us, challenge us. And sometimes we human beings who hate change, generally, we say, wait a minute, Lord, no more change for a while. Just leave me be. A good shepherd cannot and will not just let the sheep be. Remember I told you how dumb sheep are? Sheep are so dumb that they'll eat the grass down to the nub and then eat the dirt, which will kill them. A good shepherd has to keep the sheep on the move. They have to eat new grass every day because if not, it's going to kill them. Their complacency, it will literally not just stunt their growth, but ultimately kill them dead. So, a good shepherd keeps the sheep on the move. Isn't that beautiful? It reminds us, does it not, of the Lord's Prayer. Give us this day what? Our daily bread. We could substitute, give us this day our green pastures. God gives us what we need for today, knowing that He's going to move us to the next green pasture. For those of us who are transitioning in our lives from one era to another, or from one stage of life to another, one profession to another, one home to another, whatever the change is in your life right now, just remember something. Green pastures. Today's green pastures, not the same as tomorrow's, but God is the God of the green pastures of all of your time frames. Something good to remember here as we start 2017. I'm Lenora Bresler. Be with me tomorrow as we continue to look at the Psalm 23 beloved Psalm. As we continue with the Bible, delight in the details. Have a super day.